It's Alex Weaver here, and I'm now going to be joined by our resident championship-winning crew chief, Cole Pearn. Cole, you nailed it on the head the other day when you said that it was going to all come down to pit strategy for the Coca-Cola 600, and man, did it come down to pit strategy.
Oh, yeah, brilliant, right? No, I mean, I feel those are the days that I'm happy I'm not a crew chief anymore. I feel bad for those 9 guys, you know. You're out there leading, count the laps down, and then bam, you get a caution, and at worst, it's your teammate that brings it out too. So a lot of salt in the wounds there, and I feel bad for them.
Well, Cole, we saw a lot of lead changes. We saw a lot of battles on track. We saw some different pit strategies coming down pit road. So what was your move of the race?
Yeah, I kind of alluded to it on Twitter, but Greg Ives' 2-tire call in the 88 early in the race was huge. I mean, at that point in time, no one had really made a strategy call to that magnitude. And, it's always good to be a trendsetter in those situations. They felt good about their car, even though they were buried in traffic, made the 2-tire call, got the lead, and then ended up winning the first 2 stages. So I think for them, that was huge. And obviously to me, I think, we could talk about the call at the end of the race, but, that was one for me. That was the biggest call of the race.
All right, Cole, so sitting there watching the race, I know you have to have in your mind who is an overachiever and an underachiever for the Coca-Cola 600.
Yeah, I think the overachiever is the 2-car with Brad Keselowski. I mean, those guys, in a way, weren't really that great a lot of the race. They got the track position, and then, it kind of fell in the lap, and I think you could just see it from Brad's reaction. Even when he got out of the car, he was kind of looking for maybe the 5-0 to roll up because he knew they had just stole that race. So, I think really they didn't have the speed to do it, but the situation presented themselves. They made the right call, put themselves in position, and they got the win. What
about the flip side of that? Was there an underachiever from Wednesday night or Sunday night?
I don't know if it's too mean to say it, but you got to give it to the 11. We talked about it, but to go from winning, just a few days ago, and then come in and just get knocked out right in on the pace laps, and then get hit with something you're going to have to deal with for the next 4 races is just, man, that hurts. So definitely, they got to be the underachiever this week.
Just a couple of days later, what is it going to be like, that turnaround time, coming from the longest race of the year and now getting ready for the same place? The communication, I would imagine, has to be kind of key for these next 2 days.
Yeah, and communication's key, but there isn't a lot of time either. I think some guys maybe wish they brought a different car, maybe a bit more trimmed out for, the higher grip conditions. Maybe guys feel like they needed more downforce, and it's hard to make those changes within a big scale in a couple days. They can do little tweaks here and there, then maybe they'll adjust their setup. But, I think for a lot of guys, they've kind of made their bed, and now they're just going to have to wiggle in the setup area of how they can get better.
With the penalty with the 11, what is life going to be like for that number 11 team? Because I can imagine that it's going to be pretty difficult through June.
Oh, talk about the sport humbling you. You go from winning 1 week, and then then you look terrible in front of everybody. Just a few days later, and now you got to suffer for 4 weeks. We're in a world where the engineers are working from the shop anyways, and communication systems are kind of set up. But for them losing those mechanics, that side of things definitely going to mess with their flow at the track. But they're fortunate enough. There's no real practice to have to worry about. It's not like you're getting a car through the whole weekend like you would on a normal 3-day weekend. So, they're fortunate from that standpoint, and at least with having 2 races a week, it's just not as long. So, it could be a lot worse, but still 4 races is a big hit, and they'll feel it for sure.
What teams are you keeping your eye on for Wednesday night?
Whoever starts up front. I think you saw like the 19 had a lot of speed. The 88 was really strong. Those guys I thought were the 2 best cars most of the race. Obviously, the 24 showed some speed there at some point in time as well. But, I think it depends, what guys do the right pit strategy and get themselves track position and have the car to actually be able to keep it. So, I think, we saw the guys that were strong, and if they can execute right, I think they'll be strong again.
Yeah, well, we're staying at Charlotte Motor Speedway for Wednesday night's race. Cole, I always appreciate you breaking it down for us. And tune into that coming up in prime time at 8 p.m. on FS1.